it's Anna here. Thanks for tuning in. So today I want to share some words that have come to me directly from my soul as strong guidance earlier in the year. And those words were, know where you are, know what stage you're at. And this is why I've done the previous video on the map of consciousness. And if you have missed that one, I will link it to this video. Because even though this path is very much the unknown in many ways, and there is a surrender to the unknown that happens, there are also important steps on this journey, and those steps will actually be felt viscerally. You will know when you've shifted your consciousness. You will know when you've cleared the karmic timeline. It will actually be reflected in your reality. So knowing where we are, having that self-awareness and that self-honesty and that regular self-assessment, questioning everything, is our superpower on this path. And the reason why I'm sharing this and why I feel those words are actually really powerful guidance is because I've seen on my path, and I've observed it with other people that I've coached, that we often try to put the cart before the horse, so to speak. We often try to bypass very important processes. And this is when we try to apply higher level spiritual concepts, what you would see on the map of consciousness as 4D or 5D concepts, and we try to apply them when we are very much in the process of clearing our karmic timeline. So what does this look like? It looks like using the concept of presence and gratitude to justify staying in an incompatible relationship. I've done that. I know a lot of people have done that. And you can force it, right? It works for a while until it doesn't. Because when you are organically following the process, right? When it's an organic unfoldment, and you reach a state of neutrality naturally after having done the work of clearing the karmic timeline, then presence happen organically, naturally. You don't even need to think about it. It's a state of being. And there are other ways that we do this, right? We do this, especially those of us who are leaning a bit too much in our light aspects, the empath, the givers, those of us on the purer side of the spectrum, however you want to call us. That's why we often feel that it's very difficult for us to place strong and firm boundaries with people, because we have this fear of being mean, or like this fear of not being loving. There's a lot of unraveling that needs to happen around our mindset or our understanding around what love actually is, what true love actually is. And so we're staying in that loving presence, we're staying in that grace and compassion for our abusers. And then we give them chances after chances. We forgive and forgive and forgive and forget. And then nothing ever happens. And then we're looping in this constant cycle of recycling the abuse, because no change has happened in you or the other person, right? So this is when, understanding where you're at exactly and being precise in that assessment becomes key in moving forward, like having that forward movement and finding some resolution in your life. And like I've mentioned before in previous videos, it's not as if you have to go digging for things, right? Your life is your medicine. Your life is actually showing you exactly what you need to work on. The narcissist is showing you, is reflecting to you what's missing inside of you. So all this stuff is actually staring you in the face, right? If you have eyes to see. But when you are confused on this path, which happens because there's just so much conflicting information out there, this is when you ask guidance from your soul. You are on this journey, your soul chose to wake you up, but your active participation is required. You need to be a willing participant, and you need to question and ask for guidance and follow that guidance and tune in. And there is actually a lot of action that happens in this. This is what people have called the spiritual will. This needs to be activated. you will not be able to come out of your karmic timeline and move forward. You will keep looping if you don't activate that spiritual will. There is a lot of determination, courage, humility, all of that is required on this path. You know, I don't agree when people say your soul is in charge and you just get dragged. Like, no, it doesn't work like that, because I'm seeing a lot of people who can actually lie to themselves and stay looping for years. So it's not that simple. The reason, the people who actually keep moving on this journey, the ones that I've observed who are able to do this, are the ones who keep questioning themselves. They keep reassessing where they're at. They keep addressing what's happening in their life, and, you know, have that forward movement, that questioning, that connecting within, following that guidance. It's an active process. And yes, there is a lot of surrender that needs to happen. Obviously, we need to surrender the ego will, which is different to the spiritual will. But it actually happens, you know, it's an active surrender. It's an active surrendering of the ego. Another way that I can explain knowing where you are, so those words again, know where you are, know what stage you're at, is the void space that you will feel very strongly after making your way out of the karmic timeline or the matrix frequency. And I mean, the void can happen at many times. You know, it's never just one thing. Just like with the dark night of the soul, I've had many. I haven't just had one. But there is a really big void space that actually becomes really challenging after you come out of the matrix frequency, especially if you've been asked on your own journey to embody that spiritual warrior. You know, for me, it actually required of me to activate that dark feminine aspect of myself that laid so dormant that it felt like literally an excavation inside of me. When you are in that and you are in this spiritual warrior and like standing up for yourself, placing those boundaries, feeling that intense energy, which comes from self-love, but I will be doing more videos to explain this. It's very challenging when you crack this, right? And you feel it inside of you. It's a visceral experience of literally pushing through that frequency fence, that energetic wall. And you come the other side, and then there's a void. There's a void that lasted for me, I think 8 months, and just nothing happens. Literally nothing. It feels boring, like nothing's happening, that you've hit a wall. And yet, if you have become really good at connecting with your soul guidance and tuning in, it's exactly what you need to be doing. And it feels very challenging because you've been in that fire, there's so much happening, you're doing it all, and then all of a sudden, peace, complete peace. And so you need to readjust and you know, become comfortable with that peace, right? And the peace is actually the outcome of what you've shifted inside of you. It's the outcome of that frequency rising and being able to achieve peace within and without. But what I'm saying in this video is that you can't fight that void space. The void space needs to be embraced because there's just actually so much happening for you energetically at that point, even though you feel like nothing's happening. There is so much calibration, integration that's happening, and it's actually a very important step on the ladder, so to speak, to then reach the next level of that neutrality and acceptance. So I'm sharing this because it is very strange when you've gone through years of like this spiritual battle, and then all of a sudden it's just this void space. I remember people were asking me how I'm feeling, and I was like, I actually don't know. I don't know how I'm feeling. That's the void. When you can't really pinpoint what's happening, what you're feeling, that's actually a very big sign that you're in a void. And so knowing where we are and what stage we are becomes so powerful, because if you realize you're in a void space and you're no longer fighting it. When we fight things, that's when so much suffering happens, and that's when we can actually bring ourselves down again, right? Because we fighting this process and we think, oh my God, I need to do this, when your soul's telling you just sit your ass down, you're exactly where you are, just chill. Like there's just so much happening right now, and I need you to just stay put and stay quiet and just enjoy the peace. So that's what I wanted to share today. Again, if you are confused, always ask for guidance. You know, I've asked for clarity so many times on this path to my own soul. You know, if something's confusing or I'm unclear, I ask for signs and I pay attention, and the signs always come amongst the noise and the distractions. You have to create that space of stillness to be able to listen to the soul guidance, because it actually always comes if you have eyes to see and ears to hear. So I hope this is helpful, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.